Do you have a brilliant startup idea but are stuck in the launching phase? Are you feeling overwhelmed by funding, marketing, or just where to start? Don't let your startup idea stay grounded. Visit our website at eapla.com to schedule a Blue Couch meeting and launch your startup journey today.
Season 8, my co-host Matt Snyder's back with me again.
Yeah.
We're going to keep her going. And today we've got Blake Jackson with us.
So this is exciting. Blake, you are our very first in 80-something episodes person to come back on the
That's
Cusp.
right.
Oh,
You're
awesome.
number one.
You're the
first
number
one to
one
get recycled.
repeat customer on the Cusp.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, guys.
And I told Dave, I said, Dave, we got to get Blake back because he's got some big news, and he is making what I think, I've known you a long time, worked with you a long time, is your biggest entrepreneurial leap of your life.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you've been bit by that snake, okay, and you're just going to keep going.
Yes.
Can you share with us what you're doing?
Absolutely. So, a couple of years ago, I'd sold all the other business I was involved with, and I started doing some consulting, got a chance to get my hands, dirty in a couple of different entities around town, try see some things that were going on, help some folks kind of turn some things around. And one of these opportunities led to me now being the owner of a restaurant. And we're going to take that concept and take it to the next level by turning it into actually 2 concepts in the same building. So we're really excited. There's a lot that's going into it, and it's a lot of logistics. But I think that from a business standpoint, this is what I've been working my whole career to get to, is this point where I can take what I've learned over the years and really apply it into, hopefully, what's going to be an awesome vision for Shreveport.
The time it'll take for us to get this episode out, Mae Co will be actively open.
Absolutely.
And will have been. So people will know and be experienced what that is.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll be very close to the opening of your other concept. Do
Yes.
you want to talk a little about what that concept is going to be and what people can look forward to as they come try that?
Absolutely. So, Mae Co is a New Orleans style oyster bar, but what I wanted to do was make it something unique to me and the things I love, and unique to here in Shreveport, Bossier. So it's, a lot of the different things I've learned over the years, and a lot of different styles of food I've picked up over the years, where I'm taking that, applying that to make it a little change from the traditional oyster bar. But the other side's going to be Heron. It's going to be a more of a seafood house. It's a fine dining seafood house. A lot of that's going to be focused on, we have this beautiful bounty of seafood in our coast. We're going to bring in other seafood from around the world and also pay homage to our local farmers. I've built amazing relationships with the guys around here over the last, 10 years of this business, and I want to give them an opportunity to get some excellent meats and produce into my place as well.
Right.
And it's going to be kind of a blend of all those things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is. So you're no stranger to this challenge. When did you know it was the right time to do this?
I think that from an economic standpoint, obviously, the last couple of years with inflation and everything, it's been tight. There's definitely some concerns there. But Matt and I have always kind of had this understanding that, sometimes the right opportunities, if you're patient and you wait, and they just come to you. And so one of my clients was looking to focus on some other projects, and it was the right time. I didn't have all the other obligations I had of the other businesses that I had sold, so I was able to really say, hey, this is a chance for me. I can focus all my energy into doing this 100% the right way out of the gates and make sure it is.
Now, where's it going to be located?
It'll be in Providence. So
Okay.
it's going to be in the front strip of Providence, sandwiched in between Windrush Grill and El Cabo Verde.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we've had a lot of meetings, and it's always been, well, Blake, your restaurant is the next step. I mean,
Sure.
like you've got this name, you're working with all these cool companies across the state, you've been at all these festivals, you've got whatever it is. The restaurant was always in there. So I have been pestering Blake with any building or opportunity that I could even sniff forever. And this actually was never going to be an opportunity. It just kind of happened.
It did just kind of happen.
It was a situation where everybody ended in a good spot. And it was one of those deals where you're kind of involved on both sides, and you're like, well, I want everybody to win. Can we just make everybody win?
Absolutely.
And it kind of worked.
Right.
And so, like, it's a beautiful
and
thing.
That process
kinda
is
happened.
actually the process. It took about 2 to 3 months for us to really put this deal together with everyone involved, because there was 3 or 4 different parties, and it was challenging. But I think out of that, I learned so much about what I consider the spirit of the deal. You know, I mean, everybody wants to walk away being the winner from a deal, right? Everybody wants to be like, I want 100% of that deal. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you are working in business, if you can come to an agreement where all parties involved, you know, you're upfront, you tell each other, hey, this is what I need, this is what I want to get out of this. And I really embodied that in this whole deal. And I said, I'm going to make this work where everyone walks away from this feeling like, you know, they felt whole from it, because we're a tight-knit business community. Right. And I mean, like, I didn't want anyone to walk away from this feeling like, you know, they got the short end of the stick. I wanted to make sure everyone walked away saying, like, no, this is what's good, and it brings something good and new to Shreveport, and it brings some excitement for everyone involved, because there's nothing better than to have the former owners be cheerleaders for you.
Yeah,
right, absolutely.
And that is everybody wants that. And we all know that's a hard thing to get to.
That deal table makes it a little tough.
It does. Yeah. And like this one was such an interesting situation, because it was like friends and clients and everybody together, and everybody wanted it. I'm happy the way it landed. So Mae Co, rocking and rolling, kind of fun, lighter vibe.
Absolutely.
And Heron, a little more
elevated
experience.
Absolutely. And Mae Co is named after a longtime Shreveport local, Mary Relaford, who actually, she taught me how to cook. She helped raise me as a kid, and now she actually helps with my kids, and she's been here for a long time. She's an amazing, strong woman. She's definitely so passionate about just how she treats other people. And you can tell that, one of the main ways you can tell that is through her food.
Right.
And you eat her food, and it's just that much better because she made it, you know? And so that's really our whole ethos over there on the Mae Co side.
She's going to have a lot of influence on the menu?
Well, she does have some influence on the menu, for sure.
Tell me the story. I've never asked this. We can edit it if it doesn't work. Tell me the story about you telling her that you were going to name the business.
Oh my goodness. So I actually, you know, I guess it was like a couple of weeks before we were opening, and I went and told her, she was actually watching my kids at the time, and I was like, well, Mae, I'm getting into a restaurant. And she said, oh Lord, what are you doing? She just thought I was crazy. And I told her, I was like, you know, I want a place that really is gonna show people, you know, how much I love to feed people. And I think anyone who loves cooking or is a chef, or whether you're in the industry or not, like, cooking is it's a cathartic experience. It's feeding someone, and it's semi-spiritual in a way, right? Like, you know, feeding someone is an important act of, you know, we talk about like feeding someone's soul, and their stomach is the same way, right? And but I was telling her that, and she's like, I knew you'd always end up, you know, going down that road. And she said, well, what are you gonna call it? And I said, oh, I'm gonna call it Mae and Company. She's laughing. She's like, okay, no, but what are you gonna call it? I was like, no, I'm gonna call it Mae and Company after you. And she started crying, and I was like, look, you know, this is a woman who, she was in the industry for years too. She was a short order cook at Walker's Diner on Greenwood Road years ago, like in the 70s and early 80s.
Wow.
And so, I was like, yeah, now you got your own place. You got
That's
your own place.
impressive.
That's such a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're passionate about everything you do. You bring that energy, okay?
It's a blessing and a curse sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I know.
Blake and I Blake had a random idea the other day in a meeting we were both in at Eastridge Country Club. And we were like, what an idea. And then all of a sudden we look up and me and Blake are trying to boil 100 lobster at
100
one
lobsters
time.
at one time. That's it's an experience.
I'm like, Blake, how many lobsters the most you've ever boiled at one time? And he looks at me and he goes, 4?
4.
And I was like, me too. And there's 100 people sitting in this room.
Yeah. When there's a will, there's a way. But with that much lobster, it's kind of hard to do a trial run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you pull it off? Did you serve all of
We
it?
Pulled
crushed
it off.
it.
It was
great.
awesome.
Absolutely.
It was great.
Absolutely.
You know-
but let's go back to, you've had lots of successes. You've learned a lot. What would you tell somebody in Shreveport? I don't care whether in the food industry, the manufacturing industry, a lot of people think you can't be successful here. And I know you got to define success.
Sure.
What would you tell them about Shreveport? Why you ought to do it here?
Well, look, our business community is full of people that want to help. There are so many helpers in Shreveport Bossier, and you can't be shy. You got to ask. You got to put yourself out there, and you got to be willing to say, hey, like, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
And I want to consult. And I've had so many folks that have lent me their time and their ear to either ask questions or just to vent about where I am with the process. But there's a lot of phenomenal potential mentors out there, and I don't think it's day-to-day business. We get busy, and it's hard for me to say, hey, I'm going to designate this time to be a mentor for this organization. I can't commit a certain time to do that. But anyone that wants to come talk to me, like, you want to shoot me a message on Facebook or get my number from a friend or write me an email, like, I'm going to take some time at some point in that week to, like, let you know, like, hey, I'd love to chat. Let's get together. And we do. And I'm fortunate that I've had a lot of former managers go on to do some amazing things, open up their own businesses, or become professors in hospitality. One of them. It's like, if you put yourself out there and ask some folks for just a little advice, this place is ready to help, because once you've been in these shoes in Shreveport Bossier, you've put your heart into it. It's not just about seeing your business succeed.
Right.
You understand
we
that
need everybody to succeed.
absolutely.
Yep.
You understand
Yeah.
that if we're all of us can succeed together a lot easier than we can individually.
Absolutely. I see that in economic development across North Louisiana in a lot of cases. Whenever we come together as one to do something, we always win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every way. Even if we don't win the economic development deal, okay, at least we know more about each other and,
That's right.
and what their expectations are and what they want to get out of that. It works. And I think if more people did that across North Louisiana, we'd have a lot more starts.
Well, Blake, anything before we go that you just want to tell people about Heron before they come try it the first time?
Well, look, I mean, this is going to be an experience, and that's what I want everyone to know about the places that I'm opening, and is that we're going to have phenomenal food, and we're going to have great drinks, and we're going to have, we'll have some live music going on. We're going to have awesome things. But at the heart of what we're doing is going to be amazing service, and we want everyone to know that when you come in, I want my staff and myself to leave a mark on you that just says, hey, it's not that was good, we should go back. It's, okay, before I leave, I need to make a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, thanks for coming back.
Thanks
to
for
see
having
us.
me. Absolutely,
This has
guys.
been
Good to see
great.
y'all.
Round
You
two.
too.
When you open your next restaurant, you come back again. You'll be our first
Yeah,
person to
no,
go
first
three
one,
times.
three-peat there.
Yeah.
All right.
Enjoy the podcast? We would love your feedback about today's show and who you think should be our next guest. Send us an email at info@eapla.com. Also, be sure to share the show and leave a comment on our social media post.